Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Attempted Optimism Podcast. I'm Justin.
And I'm
Ben.
Ben.
I screwed that up.
And he really did, but that's okay because we're going to roll with it. So just a first thing off here for this podcast is that there's a pretty big thunderstorm here where I'm at, so you may hear some background noise, and this may cut out halfway through, and we may have to edit. Just depends on whether my power holds up. I've already lost it twice, but we're going to try anyways because we're optimistic.
It'll become a vlog of you surviving.
Yeah, exactly. But we're optimistic, so we believe this is going to work out. See what we did there? But so tonight we're going to do something a little different, and you really don't know what we're doing at all.
I got no idea.
I've had this idea for a few weeks, and then we had some other things that we decided to do, and then I went on vacation, and so now we're going to go with this idea, but I think it's perfect. So I just went on vacation for a week. I went back and visited my parents who live in Kansas City, Missouri, and then on the way home, we stopped in Wichita, Kansas, which is really close to where I grew up, and we saw some of our friends, my best man at my wedding and his wife. And we hadn't seen him in like 7 years, but being in Kansas always brings me like this deep sense of nostalgia, and just brings me back like those old school memories, of things like that you had when you were a kid, and just brings back good memories mostly. Some bad, let's be honest. But I figured we would take a trip down nostalgia lane tonight. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to talk about some things that we had when we were kids. We both grew up in the 90s and 2000s, and just see if you had it, if you remember it, if you're like, I have no idea what that is. So we're just going to go down a list of like 10 or 11 things, and I think some of these will bring about some really great conversation, and some might just be like, nah, who cares? So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is silly putty. Now, not any silly putty. I'm specifically talking about the silly putty that came in the tiny egg. There was like colored eggs, and it was like you could like put your thumb in it and then close it real tight and like pop it and everything. Did you have that when you were growing up?
I remember these very well, and I hated them.
Did you?
I never really cared for silly putty. I don't think I ever really used to like what the prescribed use was, whatever that is.
Yeah, what did you use it for?
Well, I use it to push my finger in it to make fingerprint stuff.
Oh,
like
okay.
That.
Yeah.
It was never like Play-Doh where I could create something. It was kind of like the fidget thing. There was a fidget factor to it. So I remember that, but I don't remember ever really spending money on it, like allowance or whatever.
Yeah, see, I remember.
It always seemed to be around.
I remember getting these for like in like an Easter basket or like a stocking or something. It was like something like your parents gave you when they knew you didn't need anything else. But I feel like I remember them like everywhere. And part of this list is just stuff that like isn't really around much anymore. Because, like, kids these days, they have slime. Like, I've seen a lot of that, like, kids always getting slime and stuff, but, like...
What's the fart putty stuff?
Have
you heard of that?
Mm-mm. No, is that a thing?
It's kind of like what I would consider Play-Doh mixed with silly putty, but it's, like, more malleable, I guess, a little bit, is a word for it.
I genuinely don't know what you're talking about.
You leave it in the cup it comes in, and then you, like... slam your fingers in it, and it makes fart noises. It's the worst thing.
I've literally never heard of that. Maybe I should look that up. Maybe it's what I'm looking for in silly putty.
I have a staff member that found some in a food bank order that we had got, because sometimes they just send a box of stuff, and she would leave it in my office, and so when we would have meetings, she would insist on making fart noises with this thing, and I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
I can't stand it, and I keep telling her to get it out of my office.
That's hilarious. It's a good distraction.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on from silly putty, but we're still going to talk about something that came in a container. And this is, again, some of these things are still around, but I'm talking about not the extent that we had them when we were kids. So the next thing is bubble tape. And I know you know what I'm talking about. It came in the roll, right?
Yeah.
And it cracked open from the middle, and it was like a giant roll. It was a tape of gum. And what I specifically remember about this gum is like you ate it all in one sitting. because
you
it was
always
terrible.
Pulled it right out of the
yeah,
thing
you pull it
with-
out. Yeah, exactly. You like ate it like a savage. Like I always ate it from the side. Like I didn't ever.
Oh, you bit into it.
Yeah,
you
like
weirdo.
why do you unroll it when you could just bite into it? But like,
It's a fair point.
when was the last time you saw a kid just like whip out a container of bubble tape? Do they even make bubble tape?
I don't know. I haven't. I guess I haven't looked for it. Really,
Exactly.
I always fondly remember the sour ones. I never.
Oh
really
my
cared
gosh,
about the bubblegum ones,
like the green
but-
apple sour one. Oh my gosh, that was undefeated.
And the powder, because they had to like coat it with a powder that I'm not even sure that was edible.
No,
but they put it on there so that it would.
And it would and it'd be like on your hands. The powder would be like on your fingers. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. I definitely forgot about the sour one, but the sour one was the best one. It was so good. Like
because you get the whole thing in there.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Kind of chew it.
I don't like bubble gum. Like it hurts my jaw and like it leaves a weird taste in my mouth. Like I've never been a fan of gum because you just have to get rid of it like as soon as the flavor's gone. Like I'm not one of those people that chews gum.
Yeah, I like Trident came out with a much smaller. I would say or Stride, I think, came out with those they're very thin chewing gums because I like the breath refresher and I like kind of having something to chew on sort of, but kind of like the fidget thing because I have severe ADHD.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like having that around, but the thing I hate about it most is like I don't care what your gum originally smells like. Your breath stinks after you've chewed it long enough.
Yeah, gum
the flavor goes away, and it just your breath.
Gum doesn't really make your breath smell good. People think it does, but it's that initial normally like a menthol that's in mint gums.
It's in your mouth. Yeah.
And then while it's gone, and then your breath smells bad because you're literally chewing on a piece of rubber. I really don't know. I don't know what gum's made out of. That's not an accurate representation of people.
Hot take that.
Yeah, hot take. Community. It's just rubber. I made that up right in that moment. All right.
The little poppy things and the icebreakers.
Yeah. I prefer mints, by the way. Just for the record, I'll eat like a whole 10 of mints in like 5.7 seconds flat.
Yeah, I like Lifesavers, the white ones, because and only because when I was there was like a field trip or something I took to a camp. And they were doing some like science-y kind of things. And one of the things was we were out in the woods. And now that I say it and think about it, it's kind of creepy that there was two or three adults that took all these high school kids out in the woods.
This is not a good idea.
And it was black out there. They cut all the lights off. And they gave everybody a lifesaver to put in between their teeth. And then, you would look at somebody while they crunched it, and it sparks in your mouth.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. We used to do that.
So,
speaking of mints, even though it's not on my list, but it is a throwback. It is a nostalgia factor. Do you remember the orange Altoids? They were like, or no, not orange. Yeah. There was orange ones, but the lemon ones, they were like sour. They were like a sour, orange or yellow Altoid. I can't even remember the flavor of it.
It was bad.
No, those were the best. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh!
Well, are you talking about the ones that were meant to be like the hot mints, or
no, not
an actual candy?
No. It was a mint, or it was like a mint. It was meant to be. I'm gonna find it for you right here. I'm gonna find it for you.
Meant to be.
I'm gonna find it for you. They are called Altoid Sours. That's what they were called.
Oh, dude, it came up in my Google search.
Altoid Sours.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. These are the bombs.
Those were so
They had that
good.
Same powder
Yeah,
on them.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What is that stuff?
It's not made anymore, obviously, because everything we've named that had it on it has been discontinued.
Altoid tangerine sours.
Just for the record, you can buy 4. You can buy all 4 of the limited edition Altoid Sours on eBay right now for $3,000. In case you were just wanting to go down nostalgia road.
I saw a BuzzFeed thing, and you know what? I probably have one in my garage.
Go sell it. Rhett and Link will buy it from you for a lot of money.
Is it like just the 10?
No, it's the actual mints in there too. I watched. This is a shameless plug for somebody else's channel, but I watched Rhett and Link eat one of those mints, even though they've obviously are many years out of date, and they said it was disgusting. Imagine that. But yeah. All right, so that was not even on my list, but I just thought of that as we were going through. Altoid Sours. Bring them back, Altoid. I don't even know if you'll ever listen to this. You won't, but bring them back. We want them. All right, next up on the list is one I think a lot of people can relate to, and I think a lot of people go like, oh, we have that. You don't. I'm talking about the Game Boy. Now hear me out. I put this on the list because I was looking at a list of things of nostalgia, and Game Boy was on there. And I thought to myself, like, well, we have, like, the Nintendo Switch. You can play a lot of games on iPhones now. But, like, there's nothing like what a Game Boy was. Like a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SD, whatever the other ones were. Like, is there one? I don't know what they're called. I have, like, all of them, but I couldn't tell you the names to save my life. But, like, there's very few things, like, anymore, when you see kids go on road trips, what do they have? They have iPads in their hands. Some of them even have, like, iPhones. They have... I mean, that's virtually it. Some of them have Nintendo Switches. But, like, there was something so raw and great about a Game Boy, where you had to bring, like, 3 or 4 cartridges of your favorite games. We've talked about it before. Like, I put, like, 60 to 80 hours into Pokemon Crystal, all on my Game Boy. Like, I mean, it's just not around anymore, and I don't think Nintendo Switch is the same thing. I know it's meant to be, but, like, like, I have a Nintendo Switch. It's great, but it's not a Game Boy.
Yeah. I'll take it if you don't.
No.
You'd rather have... Okay, anyway.
Nice try, though.
I'm just trying to get my hands on one.
Nice try. Yeah, they're very expensive still.
But I was thinking about it, and I was trying to remember all the accoutrement you had.
Okay, so
with the Game Boys, like with the colors in the pockets.
Yeah, it depends on which ones you had.
Those little cables that would charge it, but also you could interlink.
You got your
two brothers that would play as well.
Yeah, you got
we would all play each other Hauntars and get Gengars and stuff like that.
Yep, you got your charger cables, you got your interchange cables. If you had one of the ones without the backlit screen, you had to have the light that attached to it and came over. Yep. You had to have your Game Shark if you didn't want to play the game legally. I mean, there was like so many things that went along with a Game Boy. Yeah. And when I look back, like, yeah, Game Boys were expensive, but like, look at next-gen consoles now. Like, the Switch has been out for 3-4 years now, and it's still $300. Whereas, like, a Game Boy, you could guarantee, like, $60 to $80. Like, it was affordable for kids. Like, and you look back, it's like, oh, it was a different time. Like, no, like, $60 to $80 was affordable even then. Because I remember my dad bought 3 of them, you know, like one for me and my brother and my sister. My sister never played hers, but like it was affordable for most people. Like a Switch today, that's not really affordable. Like $300, especially if you have multiple kids. Yeah. And then you think about like car travel. I think specifically of car travel. Like a Nintendo Switch on a good day has like 3 to 5 hours of battery life. Like I don't remember my Game Boy ever running out. Ever. Yeah. Like we played it for like 12 hours straight. And then plugged it into the car if it got low. Like, I mean, I just wish... I genuinely wish there was something like a throwback like that would come out. That, like, would be modern enough for kids to enjoy, but affordable enough for parents. Because, like, I don't know.
Didn't they come out with a... What is it called? The Switch Lite?
Yeah, but it's still expensive. Like, $250? $200?
Yeah, see, look, here's one for $285. Like,
yeah.
So, like, if I were to think about it, the only time I ever was able to get games for my Game Boy was either on my birthday, at Christmas, or if I saved up my allowance, right? And I was one of those privileged kids that got allowances and things like that.
That must be nice.
It was like a monthly thing, and it would have taken me, quick math, like 15 to 18 months to be able to afford the base box for a Switch.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane how expensive these
Game Boys were like $60 to $80. I remember that being the range. And then games were $25 to $30. New games, $25 to $30.
Yeah.
Like, how affordable was that compared to you gotta buy your Switch $300, and the new games are normally $50 to $60. Like, bring back the Game Boy, Nintendo.
I would originally think that they would market those things for children. I don't think they marketed them for children. I think they marketed them specifically for millennials that have expendable.
Yeah, I remember the original commercial was people in their between 18 and 25, I would guess, based on the commercial for Nintendo Switch. I remember the original because I was very excited. I was like, I mean, they were very obviously marketing to my age because it's a Game Boy nostalgia thing. Yeah. But like they really genuinely need something that is specifically for kids. And I promise you, if you put out like
it costs like $3,
yeah. Like if you were to put out like a modern day Game Boy, even like at $100 price point, and started making games $30-$40, like I would buy one. Like I'd buy a Pokemon game that was in 2D even today because it's a great game. It's a great factor.
The only people doing that is tablet makers, Android tablets. Yeah. Low-end Android tablets are what.
Yep, it's pretty crazy. So the Game Boy is definitely on there. All right, this next one is a bit of a weird one, and I'm hoping you'll remember because I think most people do. The Taco Bell Chihuahua. Do you remember the Taco Bell Chihuahua?
I think we need a bigger box.
Exactly. See, I knew you'd have it. And specifically, I was thinking about, I'm pretty sure they did like a Godzilla commercial or a Jurassic Park commercial or something. Do you remember which one it is?
It was the Godzilla one for Godzilla 2000.
I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how commercials are so different now compared to then. Like, I don't think a Taco Bell Chihuahua would ever work in today's market. The only people I even see who make similar commercials to those now is Little Caesars. I don't know if you've seen any of Little Caesars commercials recently, but they're always, like, outrageous, out of the box, like, no idea what you're thinking of.
Something you'd only see nowadays at the Super Bowl or something.
Yeah. But, like, I was like, would that even work in today's world? I would actually argue that it would probably be, they would strike it down for being racist or something. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how a Chihuahua would be considered racist, but I'm sure there would be a way that they would find it.
Probably my interpretation of it just a few moments ago.
Yeah, you're right. We're getting censored. Let's be honest. Let's shut it down. Shut the podcast. Start over. Take the Taco Bell Chihuahua out.
I think we need a bigger one.
I didn't know. I don't know how that worked, but somehow Taco Bell got you to buy tacos off of the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was also in the era of the Choco Taco when they sold that at Taco Bell.
Oh,
in case anybody wants a super throwback. I don't think they make those anymore, do they?
Some stores have.
Yeah, you can buy them like in the grocery store.
I don't think they're Choco Tacos.
Yeah.
But there's some kind of chocolate covered taco.
Yeah. I've seen them in stores. All right, we're going to move on from that swiftly to one that I think we can find a lot of nostalgia in. We've talked about it before. It's got to be Blockbuster.
Oh, man.
And it has a special place in my heart. Like, shout out to Blockbuster.
Rip.
I actually recently found out there's still one Blockbuster left in the country.
In the United States,
Yeah,
it's
which
the
is
last one in the world. It's the only one left.
Maybe we should take an adventure and go visit it.
Should we?
Should we do a road trip sometime, like next year, to Blockbuster? I don't know. Does it matter?
It's in Nevada somewhere. It was somewhere far away.
You think so? I mean,
yeah.
Nevada's not that far from us.
That's a fair point.
Let's see. I'm going to do the research right here. Google's going to tell me.
If it's in Colorado, I can't remember what it was.
It's in Bend, Oregon. Bend, Bend. I don't know. I mean, we'll do some research and think about whether we're gonna do like a 3-day road trip.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's anywhere near Portland, I'm in.
Oh yeah, I've never been to Oregon, so I would go in a heartbeat.
I've never been to the West.
You haven't been to the West?
No, Amarillo, Texas is as far west as I've ever been.
That's not west.
No, I'm saying that is as far west.
I know, and I'm saying that's not west.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I like the West. I don't know that I want to live out there, but there's some great areas out there that I
hear they're to go visit. In Portland. I was gonna say Seattle, but Seattle's a little hot right now.
Seattle's very rainy as well, but
yeah, I would.
It rains every day in Seattle, I think.
I look good in my raincoat. What's up?
Oh my gosh, I don't even have a raincoat. What's up?
Should I go get my raincoat? You want to see me in it?
No, I 100% do not want that. Neither do the viewers.
Take a picture of it, make it the thumbnail?
No, we can also not do that. But I was thinking about Blockbuster, and I was thinking about again, it's a lot of these things for me is like there's a certain pain in the losing of it, because these were experiences unlike a lot of kids will have these days. Like anymore, if somebody wants to watch a movie, their parents buy it on iTunes or Amazon or YouTube and they watch it in the living room. Like going to Blockbuster was an experience that was like a special thing. Like you go and you walk through the aisles and hope you find a movie.
How many hours would you spend there trying to find a movie?
Oh,
I mean,
I
looking at synopsis.
I'd bet we spend 1 to 2 hours every time we went just looking for the right movie. And then once you picked your movie, you had to go pick your N64 game to rent, you know? Yeah. Like I remember two memories I have of Blockbuster, because there was one in my town. It was right on the corner of like one of the main streets right next to a Brahms, if you know what Brahms is. So you could go get your ice cream, right? But I remember specifically, I was so excited because I was like walking through one of the aisles and I was like looking at all the covers and looking at all the movies. And I found Three Ninjas. Do you remember that movie? Like it was that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I remember like picking it and I was like, well, this looks cool. And like my dad rented it for me and I was like, I'm going to be one of the ninjas. Like you watched it and you're like, I am one of them. I remember that, and then I remember picking out an N64 game, Banjo-Kazooie. Yep. And I remember at some point, you know where it's at, we put it in we went on vacation or something, and for some reason we took Banjo-Kazooie with us. I don't remember taking our N64, but we took Banjo-Kazooie, and then we lost it, and then we found it in a backpack, but that was after my dad had to pay like $80 or whatever it was for like, because if you didn't return it, it was like double what it would normally cost from the store. Like they doubled the price on it. Yeah. So like we had to end up paying for it, and I just remember my dad being so mad because he's like, I can't believe you guys lost this game. We found it later. We were happy to get to keep it. But like again, these are experiences like kids won't have these days. Like genuinely, kids don't have, like even now like, movie theaters are going to be gone at some point. Like I genuinely believe there's a future where going to a movie theater will not exist because of the expense.
It's going to be kind of VR thing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's a very sad thing. Like I can't take my kids out and go pick out a movie to rent. Like go and find something that you want to watch and make sure you pick good, because like it's going to be the one and only. And I know there's like family videos left in the world. I actually just saw one not long ago, a family video, which is similar to Blockbuster, but like it's not the same. There. It's not the same. Like the iconic sign, the blue and the yellow. I mean, it was great. So, anyways, what do you have any good Blockbuster memories to take us down the memory lane?
I remember when it took me like a month to convince my mom to let me have a card.
Yes.
Because you had to have a card. It was like a library card. You had to have a card. And I think it had to be connected to an account, right? Like or something like that. Yeah. And I remember getting my first card, and I remember that I would beg my mom. I was the driving force after 13 or 14 to make sure that every week we were going back to turn our movies in and then make sure that we get some more. Yeah. And I would always try to see if I could, like, because I remember you have the aisles and stuff that are like alphabetical by genre, but then you have all the brand new movies that come out on the wall. Yep. And what a beautiful scene. I actually stayed away from the outside because none of those movies really interested me. The ones that interested me, I always found in the 99 cents. It was you give them 99 cents and you have it for the whole week. 7-day rentals.
Watch it multiple times.
The newer movies, it was like a 2-day rental.
It was 2 or 3 days. Honestly, I think it got less and less. There was at some point they offered a 1-day video, kind of like a modern day Redbox style thing. But that was closer to the end, like when the doors were closing.
Yeah, did you go to the clearance sale?
I actually, so I was just talking about this with my friend Jordan, who we visited in Wichita. Like, I went to the closing of the last Blockbuster in Wichita, Kansas. And they had actually taken everything out of the physical store and put it outside under a giant tent. like they must have been kicked out of the building already because like the bank foreclosed and they're like, just put it all in the driveway in the parking lot. So I went to the last one and I probably bought like 20 or 30 movies. Like I remember, and
I spent $400.
Did you?
I dropped $400 just grabbing up
crazy
movies.
Yeah.
And most of the ones are ones that I had never seen before. That was the kind of beauty of Blockbuster that you don't really get with like nowadays, because rentals nowadays cost you, like, if you're trying to rent on Amazon or something, it's like $6 or something for a newer movie, and you only get it for 24 hours. And
you still have to download it.
Yeah, and so when I was a kid, I don't really do this as much as I used to, but when I was a kid or when I was growing up, like a teenager or whatever, I would just get movies to experience them, not because I thought they would be good, because I had seen some previews. And that was the other thing, that there were no previews for the movies renting there, and so they weren't ruined by the time I got them.
It was always an adventure.
Yeah, and there was always an experience. I remember, I think my brother, and I need to ask him when we get back in Discord, when we're done with this, it was Ryan's fault when we were living in, I feel like Ocean Springs, Mississippi, or Nashville, maybe, Tennessee. And I remember him bringing home the movie The Ring.
Yes. Still have nightmares.
I was like, I had to have been like 13, 14, something, which is like nowadays it's like all the kids have seen all the scary movies, but like The Ring was the first movie that I watched. Like, and like what he would do is, because he had to have already seen it, so he had to have set this up, because he paused it to go to the bathroom
and then called.
And it was no,
Did he call?
He paused it on the exact moment where like the first girl that dies, she dies because it's a die of fright kind of thing for those that haven't seen the movie, and she dies in a closet or something. And it's the aunt that's talking about it, and the door opens and it's like a flashback to when they found her, and just like her dead mangled. Oh my
gosh!
And he freeze framed it right there.
That movie to this day still gives me like anxiety. I remember sitting watching The Ring 2 at one of my friend's house, and it was like a big group of us, like probably 10 of us or something. We're sitting there watching The Ring 2, and we're like in the middle of the movie, and literally the phone rings right beside us. And it was like, it wasn't a planned thing. Nobody was pranking us or anything. It was like 11 or 12 at night, and somebody calls his house. Of course, when this is like all landlines, like nobody really had cell phones or whatever. I remember we lost it, dude. Like, we didn't even want to finish the movie. Like, so many movies. Oh, my gosh. I used to watch scary movies all the time. I hate scary movies. I'm pretty sure I walked out of The Grudge, like, in theaters. Like, my brother, we went as a family, except for my mom. And me and my brother walked out, and we went and watched, like, yeah, dude, don't, please. Like, legit terrifying. What a scary movie. But, yeah, I mean, again, Blockbuster, undefeated. There are so many things we will never get back.
It's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And if you're one of those people that was only shopping on the outside ring, shame on you. You're the reason that they went under.
That's not the case. I'm pretty sure they just did bad business.
I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah. And hashtag Amazon. So there's also that.
Thanks,
all right.
Jeff.
We're going to move on. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jeff. Next up, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because it's not something I'm like overly passionate about, but we're just going to throw the word out there. We're going to move on. We all know it's nostalgic. Let's talk about Beanie Babies for a quick minute here.
Hey.
All right, Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
Point to something other than cryptocurrency or online currency that was as wildly popular and as wildly of a bust as Beanie Babies were. I still read stories to this day on the internet of people who bought like thousands of Beanie Babies because they thought that the price and the money was going to go up.
Yeah, people were collecting.
That's wild to me.
My wife probably has two containers full of Beanie Babies.
I still have a few Beanie Babies, but again, like there was like thousands that they put out. Beanie Babies.
See, I was the kind of person that if you gave me one as a gift, the tag was coming off.
You that person.
And that would just be my stuffed animal chill pal.
Wow. I think my favorite, if I remember correctly, like there's a dope dragon one, like a really cool dragon Beanie Baby. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then there's one I just liked, like the brown bear, like super basic brown bear, like not one of the ones that are like stand up bears, but like the actual bear. But yeah, Beanie Babies, that's a wild thing to me. Yeah. Because when you look back, what's fascinating when you look back at the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s is that everything was mass produced then. So everything that everybody thought was going to be collectible is not. So comics are the same, Beanie Babies are the same, sports cars were the same. People bought up sports cars like wild, but they're mass producing them, so they're worth nothing. Trading card games. I mean, it's wild, and people really thought that was going to be the next thing. I don't blame them, but I do think it's hilarious that like Beanie Babies was as wildly crazy as they are, and I don't really think there's like an equivalent today that I've seen. I know TY I think still actually makes stuffed animals and stuff.
Oh, sure.
But it's probably not hard to do that because they made millions in the 90s and 2000s off Beanie Babies. So
I had just retired with the millions.
Yeah. All right, moving along very swiftly to a TV show. And this might not be something you were interested in, but I think I was very interested in it. And of course, that would be Legends of the Hidden Temple. Did you ever watch Legends of the Hidden Temple? Yeah. Legends of the Hidden Temple for me was like one of the greatest shows of all time. And I say that because when I was a kid, at some point, like when I was like 11, 12, 13 age, I found this Japanese TV show on like a normal cable television network. And it was like the adult version of Legends of the Hidden Temple. I'm guessing it was the original version where there was like the Wall of Death and they had to do all these crazy, like obstacle things, but in the Japanese TV show they always dressed up in like really weird outfits and things.
Is that XMC or something?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. For the life of me, I can't remember the actual name of it, but I remember watching that, and then I remember Legends of the Hidden Temple coming on Nickelodeon, I think it was, and watching Legends of the Hidden Temple, I was like, this could be my whole life. Like, I could go on that show, and I could become the greatest ninja child of all time, and it obviously never happened, because I didn't go on the show, nor did I become a ninja, nor am I a child anymore. I'm a 30-year-old man with dreams of being a ninja.
Oh, for 3 there,
Yeah. But, like, of course, like, shows like American Ninja Warrior and things like that are now based off of those style of TV shows. And I think they were even talking about bringing back Legends of the Hidden Temple. I don't know if that's true or not. I might have made that up.
I heard they were doing it, and I know that there's another... that they're definitely bringing it back.
Yeah.
They're definitely bringing it back. And there was another show that came out. I think it's more of one of those adult kind of shows. But it's the Floor is Lava.
Yeah, on Netflix. Yeah, I saw that was on Netflix, and people are like raving about it. They think it's like incredible.
Yeah.
But I love those shows.
Hidden Temple.
Yeah.
In fact, what was the other show? The other big kind of game show that Nickelodeon did. It was the one. It was like Slime Zone or something.
They had the slime. I don't remember the name of it. I do remember like the giant.
About the one where they bring out the big nose. Yep. And you had to like pick through it and stuff. I remember being a kid and we went to the studios.
Mm-hmm. Nickelodeon Studios.
Nickelodeon Studios. I remember standing outside and they had this thing that was like kind of like a splash zone where you waited like minutes, like every 30 minutes or so it would explode and it would like
and
then it would explode slime or whatever, and then we went and watched a live show of like Slime Zone or I don't remember what it was. It was basically that where it was like kind of like,
well, I mean that was a live audience show, wasn't it? Or like live audience recorded. I
can't remember what talk.
Yeah, I mean, again, some of the shows on Nickelodeon, we've talked about it before. I've talked a lot about it with other friends. Like, the shows on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel at that time were so outrageously good that today, in comparison, the shows they have now, I'm like, why do you even air shows? Like, they had the Amanda Show, they had the one with Keenan and Kel, and the... All That was what it was called.
So good.
like all that was like the Nickelodeon version of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
It had the Blam, which was like Robot Chicken before Robot Chicken.
Yeah, I mean, like, that time period for TV was so good, in my opinion. People will disagree with me if they want, but there were so many, like, quality shows on every network. Even I remember, and I was even still a little bit older, but, like, Nick Jr. at that time was really good. Like, I even enjoyed the shows on Nick Jr. that they did, and I remember, like, the little, like, bouncing smiley face thing that I think went along with it. Like, so good. I miss those days. The world's not the same anymore. The world's really gone downhill if you really think about it.
It's really gotten dark.
It really has. There's not many good things left in the world.
Wow.
Optimism. We're here. We've really lost our optimism.
This week's episode of Attempted Optimism, where we're failing.
We're failing miserably. All right, next one. And this might be something you're not familiar with. My wife had never heard of it. She was not familiar with what I was talking about, though she was familiar with some of the books. So when I was a kid, maybe the same for you, the school that I was at, every year, or maybe twice a year, the Scholastic Book Fair would come. And they would like set up in the library or set up in the gym or in the cafeteria or something, right? And you could bring money to school and buy books. Did you have that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so my wife didn't have that. She was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She knew some of the books that they sold, but she was like, we never had that.
I would ask what school she went to, but I probably don't want to know.
It was like a Christian school in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Like, it's a fairly large school, but I went to small Christian schools and I had it. I mean, I went to a Christian school and I had the Scholastic Book Fair. But I wanted to run some of the titles by you. So I don't know if you had any of these, but like they sold the I Spy, like Spectacular Treasure Hunt Christmas books, like the big ones. They had the Where's Waldo, of course, that you had to get. They sold Goosebumps, which I never got a Goosebumps. I honestly don't think they brought the Goosebumps book to the Christian school, because I bet they regulated what could and could not come.
That is so sad, bro.
I mean, I read the Goosebumps because we'd go to the library. But then, of course, there's the ever epic Captain Underpants, or as we call it, Captain Tim the Tap Man. Look it up on Google if you don't understand the reference, for anybody who's listening, but Captain Underpants. All right, and then I'm going to go down the list a little bit further, because some of them are like kids' books that I was like, there's no way they sold that at the Scholastic Book Fair. Like, they made it up.
Boxcar Children and Wayside School on there?
I was going to get to that. Wayside School. Boxcar Children wasn't on there, but I remember getting Boxcar Children.
I think Boxcar was a little bit older than us.
Yeah.
But still around.
Yep. Here's one.
Yeah, Wayside School came out around our time.
You ready for this one? I remember my brother owning this book, and I remember reading it. The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. Do you remember the Stinky Cheese Man? Yes. These
My mom still has the book.
Does she really? I have not seen that book in years. Yes. That's so good.
So good. The illustrations are the best.
Yep.
The way that they kind of twist the story, but not too much. It's just...
And then, of course, there was Sideways Stories from Wayside School. I was talking with my wife, because she's like, I've never heard of those books. And there's a story that I specifically remember from the Wayside Story books. And I don't know if you'll remember this one, but it was one about the new student who comes in a raincoat. So it's a new student who comes in a raincoat, and the teacher, like, every day says, take off another... So they just keep taking off a raincoat. It's smaller. And, like, the end of the story is, like, the new student's a rat. Just in a bunch of raincoats. And I just remember being, like, fascinated by that story. I was like, this is the greatest story of all time. Who wrote this? But it's, like, it's stupid now. I don't know. But, like, I remember those books really well. And I'm pretty sure, like, there was no 13th floor in that book. Am I right? Like, the school didn't have a 13th floor?
Correct.
What a great story. All right. And then here's one. Do you remember the Magic Treehouse series? So it's like Mary Pope Osborne, so The Night at Dawn, Mummies in the Morning, Pirates Past Noon. It was like a whole... series. Yeah. Super good.
I don't think I read the whole series, but I remember The Mummy.
I don't think I did either. And then there's two more here on the list. Eyewitness books. Do you remember Eyewitness? They had like archaeology, early humans, robots. It was like these giant... It's basically like a kid's encyclopedia, I would guess, with like pictures. But those were very popular at that time. And then this one, which I had not thought of in years. Animorphs. Animorphs.
Yes! I love it.
What a terrible plot line for that book series.
Awful.
But people loved it. I bought them.
I like the covers better than anything.
I was looking at some of the covers right here because I've got it like pulled up, and there's like the kid that's like turns from a bird to a dog, and then there's like an ant to a kid,
and
kid to a spider.
One that, like the original Aliens, like a centaur looking dude or something.
I'm looking. There's one that looks. Yeah. There's one that's like a centaur that turns into a raccoon. What are we talking about here?
He was like the first one or something. And then I remember the kid that turns into the eagle.
Yep, that one's on here.
He was on. You can.
Don't ruin Animorphs, all right?
I'm ruining Animorphs because it was the saddest thing in the world because there's a rule that you can only like an hour or a couple of hours or something. And if you don't turn back, you stay that way. And he was an eagle forever.
Hashtag depressing.
Rest in peace, man.
I'm looking at one that looks... Well, one, there's this kid, like, crouched over in a purple shirt, and he turns into a roach. Because that's what I want to morph into. And then the other one...
They made a TV show.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's wild.
There's one more, and it's like a kid. He's got, like, a yellow shirt and, like, some jeans with the crease down the middle of the jeans, you know? He got those things sent to the dry cleaners, and he turns into what looks like a standing dinosaur? Or like a walking dragon dinosaur? I mean...
Your face is priceless
my mind's blown by the fact that
if you're just listening on iTunes, you really need to try out our YouTube channel.
I'm blown by the fact that we bought these books.
Yeah, I own quite a few of them. I think I bought more Goosebumps than anything.
Did you?
But let me blow your mind.
Okay,
quick.
I'm ready.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh.
They were good. Didn't they turn that into a TV show as well?
They turned it into a movie in 2019.
Yeah. And then
I had to Google it to make sure I was right about it.
There's a TV show about Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, right?
Don't bring
Do you remember
that?
Up,
Dude,
yeah.
I can't.
No, we've talked about this before.
I remember having a recurring nightmare, and I don't even remember what episode it is, and I feel like I want to purchase them all so that I can get this out of my head. But I remember there was a thing where the girl and she's like running through an alley or something.
I don't like this
and
already.
She goes around a corner, and it's in first person, and that was what really freaked me out. And there's this like green, scary monster face, and I don't even think I remember what the monster looked like, but my brain made it so much worse. And I remember having night terrors about that.
I just remember,
and I feel like I need to watch the show again so I can get that out.
Maybe we should watch some back together, because I remember one where it was like they go to like some town.
Yeah,
and it was something to do with time, and like people keep disappearing or something, or like I don't know. I don't even remember the plot line, but I remember that one being like my nightmare or something. Like,
can't do it.
Let's watch it back sometime.
The one with the pool.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The dead guy in the pool.
Something like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, I don't know. We should watch these back together and be terrified.
We should.
I bet they're still scary. I would bet money that they're still scary. Mostly because I'm still scared of scary things.
Like my heart's beating really fast.
Yeah, mine is too. We're psyching ourselves out on things that don't exist anymore.
I'm actually creeped out.
We're moving on. We're moving on to a very much lighter note, and I'm pretty sure they still make these, but I have not seen them in a long time. And the real nostalgia here comes in the form of a question. Why would my parents ever let me buy candy cigarettes?
No telling, bro.
Why would my parents... Because I got the money from them.
Yeah.
And they let me sit on the porch and pretend like I'm smoking candy cigarettes. How is that ever good for an adolescent brain? Like, you're literally saying to a child...
They didn't taste good.
I mean...
It was just chalky.
Yeah, but some people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to eat them by, like, the box. Or the carton, I guess it'd be considered, you know.
Yeah,
like,
a pack a day?
But I literally think, like... My parents let me go into the store and buy a package of candy cigarettes and a Balls energy drink, if you know what that is.
I remember Balls energy drink.
BAWLS. It was in a blue bottle with the little like bumps on the outer edge. Either that or I would buy a Jones soda. Hashtag get the green apple. It's the best.
Jones cream sodas are the best.
I hate cream soda. We've been over this. And then they would let me sit on the porch and smoke a candy cigarette and drink a Ball's energy drink at like 14 years old, 13 years old, 12 years old. Like, what is that setting me up for? Like, they're lucky I'm not a
they were
middle-aged chain smoker who drinks a beer on his porch every day and smokes a cigarette.
No, they were probably thinking you thought you were so cool doing it.
I was cool doing it.
Other people would see it and then never invite you to smoke a cigarette.
I was cool doing it. First of all, I didn't just look cool. I was cool. Second of all, there's nothing good about letting a kid get an oral fixation who like always needs to have something in their mouth. There's nothing good about that.
Were you a thumb sucker? Maybe they were trying to get you away from thumb sucking.
I don't think so. I don't remember. I mean, I might have been. My teeth were horrible, and sometimes they link that to thumb sucking, but I don't know. But anyways, I just started thinking about that, and I was like, I wonder if they still sell those. First of all, which I think they do. Like I've seen them in some places.
There's probably some novelty places.
And the second, like, why would they ever let me have those?
Who knows?
Candy cigarettes. They were great. Not for taste, just for looks.
I hated them.
You looked awesome doing it.
The aesthetic.
Yep. I was cool. I was like Frank Sinatra. Sinatra cool.
There he is. Cool kid. Everybody.
All right, next up. And we got two more. This one, it's not a big thing for me, but I knew people who were obsessed with them, and that would be like Gigapets and Tamagotchis. Did you ever have that?
I had them. They all died.
I had like one.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, I had like one, and I specifically remember like I did a ton of work and was like doing great, and then like I woke up one morning and it was dead. And it was like the saddest day of my life.
I think that's why they made them, was not so that kids could have something like some sense of responsibility, but so that they could have that conversation with their parents about death, maybe.
Well, that's what they were trying to. That's the darkest take I've ever heard on a Tamagotchi. I'm gonna be real with you. I've never heard a darker take. My wife told me she had like 30 of these. She had like tons.
I must have had like 2, but I killed them all because I didn't want to be bothered with it. Like we had a dog when we were kids, but like I didn't take care of it.
I didn't want to be bothered with another life.
There's too much responsibility there, you know.
Are you kidding me? It's a Tamagotchi. A Tamagotchi.
It's that I had to look at all the time. You had to look at it like every 15 minutes.
You really did, though. You really did. You had to like walk them and feed them and like put them to sleep. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know much about Tamagotchis. I didn't have one.
You know more than I do, I think.
I'm pretty sure I made all that up right in that moment. But it sounds accurate.
It sounded good. Yeah,
it sounds like something somebody did. But yeah, Tamagotchis, Gigapets, they were a thing.
I don't even think you're saying it right. I think it's Tamagotchi.
It's definitely Tamagotchi because I'm from Kansas. So
let us know. I don't know what that has.
Let us know in the comments whether it's.
Let us know in the Let us know in the Tamagotchis.
Let us know in the comments if it's Tamagotchi or Tamagotchi or neither, and we're both mispronouncing it. All right, last one, and this is something I feel like we can both appreciate. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We're talking about designer yo-yos. Now, hear me out. Yo-yos are still a thing. I've seen kids with yo-yos as recently as like this year, you know? I've seen them. But I'm talking about yo-yos that could impress the girls, you know? Ones that could light up. Ones that could do the tricks. Ones that could cradle the baby or whatever that one was called.
Cradle the baby,
What was it called? Do you know what I'm talking about? The move?
Baby cradle. I don't know.
The one that could walk the dog. The one where you could do the Superman thing. I'm just making up moves at this point. Did you ever have a yo-yo?
Here's where we stop being friends. I don't know how to yo-yo, and I never learned. I could never figure out how to get it back up.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Attempted Optimism Podcast has been canceled. This will be the last episode, and we will never return as you see us today. I will be getting a new co-host, and we will be calling it the Pessimism Podcast.
I remember they had cheat yo-yos, and it was the ones that automatically.
Wow, dude. This is why I'm gonna be upfront with you.
I had one of those.
This might be hard to hear, but this is why you were not getting the ladies. All right, this is why. Because if you had been able to yo-yo properly,
because you knew how to yo-yo,
and I got all the ladies.
Sure,
that's facts.
Sure.
Ask my wife. She's not happy about it, but it happened.
I thought it was faking. Or learning how to play instrument.
No, I mean I did that too. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a long list of things that you do. when you're young to try to get the ladies. But let me tell you what.
There's a very short list of things you won't do.
In elementary school, yo-yoing was where it was at. And the fact that you didn't tells me everything you need to know. You needed one of two things. You either needed to know how to yo-yo, or you needed to own a holographic Charizard Pokemon card, mint condition.
I had 3 of them.
That's too many. You're flexing too hard. People aren't impressed. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, like, yo-yos were it. And I remember, like, they had all kinds of variants. They had the ones that would, like, lock up for you, you know, for the people who couldn't actually yo-yo. They had the ones with, like, they were the rounded ones, right? The rounded corners that were a little bit more like... Yeah, they had the ones with the wheel-looking ones on the side that you could walk the dog really easily with. I mean, they had, like, every kind. And I just remember, like, me and my brother, between us, we must have had, like, 20 yo-yos.
So, if we ever get to meet in person again, which I highly doubt.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But if we do, can you teach me how to yo-yo?
I mean, let's be real. I haven't yo-yoed in, like, 15 years? 17 years?
Well, you have until coronavirus is done to practice. So you can
I think we should. I think we should make a video of me trying to teach you how to yo-yo and see how badly I embarrass myself.
Or rather, how quickly you quit.
Very quickly is most likely. Yeah. But I just like...
frustrating.
I was just thinking about it and like, again, like yo-yos are a thing today.
Yeah.
But how many kids do you see trying to flex a yo-yo trick for the girls? Be like, let me show you my yo-yo real quick.
Let me cradle the dog.
I mean, like, cradle the dog. That's not a thing. All right. We're not doing this anymore, but no,
I do have one for you though.
You have a nostalgia for me? A nostalgic thing?
Yeah, and it may be one that falls flat on its face.
Okay, I'm ready.
Did you ever eat dine-in Pizza Hut?
Dine up? Dude, are we talking like you finish your books for the award and you go and get a free Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something about my childhood. There was one thing that was a constant in my childhood. That was a constant in my childhood, and that was reading books to get free pizza. And we, as our small Christian school, would go in like a group. There'd be like 10 of us who walked into Pizza Hut and ruined those people's night, being like, we all get free pizza. You know, like, I think back on it now, and I'm like, those people hated us. Those people hated us. Like, we're not even paying for pizza. We're walking in and stealing pizza from them, and they don't even get a tip for it because we're, like, 11 years old. Like, I know that their lives were horrible. But, yeah, I mean, dine-in Pizza Hut, I mean, obviously Pizza Hut's still around, but I could not tell you the last time I ate in a physical Pizza Hut restaurant. I cannot tell. Actually, I probably can't tell you. It's probably been 6 or 7 years ago when my grandma was still healthy and she wanted to go out and eat Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
But nobody goes and sits down at Pizza Hut.
The thing that I wanted to... My thing, the last thing, was not even the pizza. It was the little red stands by the door that you had to have a quarter for, and you would push the thing in, and you would get a sticker.
Wow. Oh my
gosh, talking about?
It's been so long.
So when we started this, I wrote that down immediately because the stickers and the tattoos and the slappy sticky hands, those are my most nostalgic thing.
I have not thought about that in 20 years, since the last time I got one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think many people would remember that.
It's a big thing because those were holographic as well. I remember in my 6 to 12 years, it would be the tattoos, it would be the holographic stickers that looked amazing. I'd put them on my notebooks and on my backpack and on everything. And then you'd always have the little slappy sticky hand things that you just fling at your brother's face and hit him in the eye. And then it became something of a collectible that I did when I started getting into my shoe game, when I started getting into Vans. So did you ever go to Journeys at
Yeah,
the mall?
yeah. Journeys.
And you get the little stickers.
Yep.
The hand
Yep.
stickers.
Yep.
I used to have. I think my total, the biggest amount I ever had was probably 100.
Oh my gosh, that's so many.
105 or something.
That's
and I put
so
them
many.
on my furniture in my bedroom. I put them on like my TV.
Yeah.
I put them on everything, man. I collected those stickers.
Since we're speaking about things you could get from places like restaurants and things, the last one I just want to briefly mention was, and I'm gonna just say the name wrong, I know, but like when you'd go through Dairy Queen and get, was it called Pogs? The little round,
the
wooden
jumpers,
square things. Is that what they were called? Pogs? Is that?
I feel like that's the thing.
Pogs. I mean,
you can't really Google that anymore.
Yes, you can. Well, they're called milk caps, but we definitely called them Pogs. The game you collect, Pogs. And I'm going to be honest, I never.
You'd flip.
I've never played the game. I never played the game. Yeah. We just collected them.
Collected them.
Yeah. That's crazy. See, this is why I love doing these kind of things, because you start to think of things you haven't thought about in years, literal years. Yeah. And thinking of that Dairy Queen where we got the Pogs from, this is my last story. We're going to end on the podcast on a strange note. But I remember when I was like in middle school, there was a news report about how the local Dairy Queen was shut down because a guy had put a pipe bomb in the back of the Dairy Queen. And I remember thinking of as a kid, like, why would anybody want to blow up Dairy Queen? Like, that sounds like the worst idea of all time. And he was like a former employee that was like disgruntled, so he put a pipe bomb, and it was like a legit pipe bomb.
Yeah.
Like he had made a pipe bomb and tried to blow up the local Dairy Queen. And I was just remember being like, why would you do that, though? Like, Dairy Queen's the best. Like,
you can't do that. That's illegal.
That's where I get my Pogs, but,
That's my Pog place.
So, anyways, I feel like we could do another episode of Nostalgia, because there's a lot of other things that I think you could add. And, these are just things that I came up with off the top of my head and by looking online as well.
Put them in the comments as well.
Yeah, let us know some nostalgic things that you guys have.
Because I know Chris
remembering things
is going to come up with some stuff.
Because there's a lot of things that I know we're missing, like things that will really take us down memory lane. I already have one for next time that I want to talk about, like the next time we do an episode like this. But make sure you put it in the comments so we can see, and we can maybe even bring it up on the next episode. If you're listening on YouTube or SoundCloud or wherever you may be listening. iTunes, I don't think you can like things on iTunes, but make sure you like, subscribe, share if you feel like sharing, and leave us some comments and tell us some nostalgic things you grew up with. So hopefully you've enjoyed, and we will see you on our next episode.